What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy, Big Blue Drew 97, repping the blue once again today, here to talk to you about My Hero Academia, manga chapter 436, titled Shimura Tenko Part 2, or Shimura Tenko Origins Part 2. I am so excited and saddened at the same time, because first of all, I'm happy because this is a part 2. I know this may not seem big to everyone else, but to me this is something big because this is the first time in My Hero Academia, as far as I know, which we've had a manga chapter that's like, oh, here's a part 2 to a continuing story. Because sometimes it continues on from the next chapter, sometimes it doesn't. I really like this because it just shows a title scheme going on. It reminds me of a manga I used to read called Bleach, and the person who did that, Taite Kubo, did the same thing. So this is just something that just made me happy and remember that time. And then I started reading, and oh boy. For starters, this is a very good chapter. The main things that we get from this chapter are so good because first of all, let me just say this. What is the first thing that you think of when you read this chapter? What is the first thing that you would see? Do you think you're gonna see Shigaraki thinking back on the flashback? Do you think you're gonna get a recap of what happened the chapter before? No, it goes straight into the dog dying. And it's not an instant death. That dog felt everything. It went from being a dog to being a pile of goo and blood. And you just see the transition of it. And I'm just thinking to myself, wow, yeah, the big the kid gloves are off. The kid gloves are off. And that was just something I didn't expect. And as soon as that happens, it immediately goes on to seeing his sister Hana-chan coming to apologize for what she did, sees the bloody dog, and then begins to run away. And you just have Shigaraki, you just see little baby Shigaraki just looking and don't go. You're gonna apologize, help, there's a village attacking me. And then you just get in the chapter, you just get thought bubbles. Not really thought bubbles, but you get the thought process of what was going on. He thinks that a villain is attacking, and he wants his sister to protect him. But see, here's the thing. She's not that much older than him, maybe 8 or 9. She doesn't know what she's doing. She was gonna probably go get an adult. Or what probably is implied is that she just ran away from him. Because she might have immediately thought it was him and was scared. Or she could have been going to get help. And at that age, Shigaraki just didn't understand that. So, it's an initial thought when he sees someone he loves run away, he tries to grab at her. And you just see, you don't see her body disintegrate. But you just see a line going down her eye like this. When it's about, and then as soon as that happens, she just disappears. She's dead. And Shigaraki's just screaming, scratching his eyes. And I think this just confirms why he has no lips and why his eyes look the way they are. It's because when he was going through that, he was just grinding across his eyes and his lips, just disintegrating his face, in the process of doing, accidentally killing his family. Because immediately after he kills his sister, his grandparents and his mom come out. And they see the destruction, and the thing is he's touching the ground. And the ground starts to disintegrate as well. So you just see all of this dirt and just decay all around them. And he reaches outlets mother, and then there's just this thought process of he thinks that he's doing it on accident, but then he also remembers well, maybe I did it on purpose. And he just talks about how he hates everyone. And the most heartbreaking thing happens is that his mother recognizes what is going on, and goes to comfort her. Because, like, in his mind, he's thinking, why did you choose my father's side? He hit me. Why would you choose his side? And in the end, she chooses, like, to go with him. But it's too late. And what's even worse is that she does it in the process of being disintegrated. You just see her arms, like, about to wrap around him. And as soon as, like, she gets close, she disappears. And it's like, oh no. This all could have been avoided if he just had more hugs and said, you can be a hero. But I think what it's implying is that even though he might have wanted to be a hero, he might not have been able to do so because what he's implying is that he just always had, like, a darkness inside of him, and that just the environment brought up, which is, like, a good idea because it brings up the idea of nature versus nurture, which is really important in the series because you have genetics. But it was like you have Todoroki, who was gifted with, like, an amazing quirk, but due to, like, how his environment he was raised in, he probably, if it wasn't for, like, another environmental effect, how he was raised, he probably wouldn't have lived up to his expectations, even though he genetically could. So in this chapter, it just brings up the idea of, like, even though someone may be, like, horrible on the inside, if they're raised in, like, a proper environment, they can grow into something better. But if they're grown in a horrible environment, even with, like, something genetically wrong with them, then they're just, it just ends poorly for them. And I think this is very good, and probably the creme of the creme, and makes you fucking hate this father even more. He comes out, the father sees all the destruction, looks at his son is like, I'm sorry, and, like, he starts backing back, and, like, what does he immediately do? He takes the nearest, like, object, like, let's just say this pin is the nearest object, and just fucking hits his son in the back, like, in the side of the head, and I'm like, oh no, no, and, like, just in an instant, Shigaraki just grabs his father's face and just starts screaming, die, die, die. So he kills his father. He straight up murders his father. He might have accidentally killed his dog, accidentally killed his mother, grandmother, sister, grandfather. He straight murders his father. And you just, on his face, he just has, like, a feeling of ecstasy. Like, what he's doing is like, yes, I've wanted to do this entire time. And it's just, wow. It's very, just, you look at that and just think, wow. So, sorry about that. When it comes to this chapter, I really did enjoy it. I thought that learning more about his backstory was amazing. I thought that realizing that this all could have been avoided just by a few different changes, just taking his side or saying he could be a hero. But it just shows that how you are raised can affect who you will become in the future, no matter what your genetics may be. And if you just have a shit father who beats his child, you may be murdered. That may not be the moral of this chapter, but I think that it's something that you can gain from it. And I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. Hopefully y'all enjoyed it. Hopefully you enjoyed my initial thoughts on this chapter. And I will see you next time. And I will be reviewing manga chapters of the manga that I'm reading every Tuesday, and I think this is it. Friday, Tuesday and Friday, and hopefully I'll be able to see y'all there. So until next time, catch you guys later.